Coastal flooding was a real menace with the storm, no exception of the Indian River Inlet. Once again, thank you to Chief Meteorologist Rich Wurzik for taking this video. And the same goes for areas by Long Neck and Mariners Grove specifically, or cover, I should say, with the rain, or I should say with the tidal flooding that was in progress across the area over there. And many other areas across the coastline dealt with some tidal flooding, including Smith Island. In fact, they reached major flood stage during the evening high tide cycle. You can see that significant inundation that was in progress with that high tide during the evening. And tomorrow, not going to look too great as well in terms of the tidal flooding situations. We will have more instances of that going forward tomorrow. Rain forecast a little bit improved. I would expect at least a small cloud advisory for the Atlantic Ocean tomorrow, and a gale warning for the Chesapeake Bay, and then a storm warning for the Delaware Bay as you go through tomorrow. So not going to be perfect. You also notice that there's going to be a wind advisory in effect through all night tonight for Sussex County and Worcester County down into Accomack County, in effect until 8 a.m. tomorrow, and then a high wind warning for coastal Sussex County for potential gusts over 40 miles per hour, at times perhaps exceeding that by the immediate coastline through the overnight tonight. And we got a coastal flood advisory that's now been extended to 2 a.m. on Tuesday for Dorchester, Wycomico, and Somerset counties for the successive high tides that will be occurring over the next day or two. And then along eastern Delmarva, we have a coastal flood warning that goes into effect until 8 p.m. on Monday. And I do expect this to at least be extended for Worcester County, maybe at the very least a coastal flood advisory for later tomorrow. So top wind gusts today have been between 40 and 50 miles per hour. A few isolated locations like Ocean City and Lewis were just a little bit above 50 miles per hour for those top wind gusts. Of course, the main story has been the coastal flooding. We've had nearly a foot of water reported at Savannah Road at Lewis, Delaware. And then there was a report of 18 inches of water down at 4th Street at Ocean City with the coastal flooding that took place today. Right now, we have an area of low pressure off the coast, and that's creating an enhanced pressure gradient with this high pressure. So that is why we are going to keep it a bit on the breezy side tonight, and occasionally along the coastline, it will be quite windy. We even have a little bit of light rain in progress across parts of Sussex County. So right now, I would expect light rain to be falling at Millsboro. Some places have received over an inch of rainfall, especially at around Georgetown and around this yellow shading of the color. And overall, a lot of us have seen around ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. And we will see more scattered rain showers for tomorrow. Not going to be a very wet day, but there will be rain at times, which could add a little bit to those rainfall totals. By the time we get to Tuesday, I do expect conditions to dry out, but it will be a slow process for those clouds to clear out. But we should see sunshine by Wednesday. Winds again going to remain elevated through the overnight tonight. Going into tomorrow, we'll see some elevated wind gusts, maybe dying out a little bit later in the day before picking back up a little bit by Tuesday. It will be a fairly breezy day. So in terms of the coastal flooding for overnight tonight, in a few hours, the crest time between 2 and 3 a.m., moderate flooding will be possible. Some minor tidal flooding for the Chesapeake Bay, maybe some moderate flooding for the high tide cycle for Smith Island, and then perhaps major flooding will be possible for Delaware tomorrow. But the weather improves by the end of the week with vastly cooler temperatures but an abundance of sunshine.